From the wet markets of China on 19th of November 2019, the origin of coronavirus alongside its growth was reported, and in a time frame of only 1.5 months, the number of Chinese coronavirus patients reached a devastating 94,600. Subsequently, the increase in corona patients was now beginning to be seen worldwide. The Chinese government on December 3, 2019, decided to seek assistance from the International Organization of Health in regards to this problem. And due to the unstoppable rise in the number of cases, an international health emergency was enforced on the 31st of January 2020. On 3rd of March 2020, a travel ban was implemented worldwide in order to mitigate the adverse effects of the virus. Now, since this was evolving into a pandemic, various cautionary measures (SOP) were put forward, for example, social distancing. Nonetheless, despite the implementation of such preventive measures, our country, Pakistan, was now no longer safe from the virus as well. On 26th of February, the first case of coronavirus was confirmed, after which, till 18th of March, incessant amount of coronavirus cases were being confirmed throughout provinces of Pakistan. On 15th of June, Pakistan had now recorded a total of 6,825 newer cases, which led to Pakistan earning the 28th rank on the leaderboard of countries which have been conflicted with the coronavirus the most. The country had to immediately impose a lockdown in order to get a tighter grip on the situation. But the pandemic's second wave proved to be extremely detrimental. For the first time, a large phase 3 clinical trial in Pakistan was being conceived, courtesy Cansino Biologics, a product of Beijing Institute of Biotechnology, collaborating with National Institute of Health Islamabad and 5 other reputed institutions across the country. Sir, why the vaccine?
Yes, it's a very important question. You see, world has changed more than it has ever changed during our lifetimes. I do understand that it's very, very difficult to develop a vaccine against an RNA virus. And I think all credit to the colleagues who worked day in, day night. And again, this is, this will go down in the history. Of course, that is our darkest period that we are going through. We have now 39 vaccines entering phase 3 trials or completing phase 3 trials. You see, normally a vaccine development will take 9 years because you will develop it in the laboratory by recombinant or by whatever vector you use, and then you will test it in vitro, and then in vivo it will undergo animal studies, and that itself would take a couple of years. And then you will enter phase 1, which will take another 2-3 years, then phase 2, phase 3, and then marketing. You see, the whole process will take 9 years. Here, for the first time in the history of mankind, the research have been compressed to less than 5 months. Everything which was to happen, subsequently, one after another, happened in a compressed fashion, in a parallel fashion, rather than in a linear fashion. And I think whenever the history of the world will be written, COVID-19 will feature very, very high. And then, of course, a ray of hope from the vaccines. So I think ultimately this disease is going to be part of the history through an effective vaccination program, which is, of course, developing a vaccine is one thing, testing is another thing, and then it's much more challenging to administer it effectively in the majority of the population, which means 75, you have to vaccinate 75% of the population of any area or country, and then only herd immunity will be created, and then person to person transmission will stop.
The vaccine which is being received from the NIH Islamabad, we have stored it in the refrigerator at 280 centigrade, and we are releasing that vaccine as per their need, and we are ensuring that the temperature is maintained between 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. And the next phase is that we are processing the specimens of blood specimens which have been obtained by the clinical area, vaccine area, and they send the specimens to us, and then we process those specimens, and then we store those specimens at minus 20 to 25 degrees centigrade. And the next step would be to ship those specimens to NIH Islamabad, and from NIH Islamabad those specimens will be shipped to Canada.
Sir, you are the principal investigator in this cansino trial. Why did you select this cansino vaccine?
Cansino is a basically Chinese company, but now their headquarters is in Toronto, Canada. So that is why Can comes from Canada, Sino comes from China, and it's Cansino. We have the people who can provide all the infrastructure for vaccine trials. So we brought it, we trained people, we have now many volunteers working here that you will see here, and they are doctors, they are paramedical, they are dentists, and they are doing a wonderful job. They are working around the clock, not only taking informed consents in local language, explaining people how they are going to volunteer, and also more importantly, after the administration, they follow up. They are ringing, calling them up again and again, and they are available to them if, God forbid, there is any ADR or adverse drug reaction.
Just like any other project, this project has also seen different phases. We started small, we stuttered, but then we expanded and recovered. And now we have recruited nearly 5,000 volunteers across Lahore, who we are in touch with through a follow-up team, and we will remain in touch for next 1 year through weekly phone calls. The lifelong lesson in this project has been the model of industry academic linkage that has been created courtesy National Institute of Health Islamabad, supported by our sponsors AJM Pharma. I'm also thankful to the entire team, not just the staff that has been prominent, but almost 80 to 90 people have been working around the clock to make sure that not just the volunteers remain within the loop of trust, but also the quality of the entire activity is delivered as per international standards. Mind you, clinical trials are not the easiest of things. They are probably the most challenging when it comes to deliver a project, but we all expect that with this much effort, with this much trust, and so many eyes looking at us, we will be able to deliver a vaccine that will provide a ray of hope to many, many millions.
How has your experience of this phase 3 trial been so far, and what are the questions and concerns that the volunteers ask you?
It was a very different experience because people come here with different concerns regarding the type of vaccine, regarding whether it will be suitable for old age people, and why do we still have to wear masks if we're still getting vaccinated. We have ruled out many different concerns about the volunteers, because of which there's a growing acceptance and confidence amongst the volunteers, and because of which many people are coming and getting vaccinated.
Sir, how is this phase 3 trial going along up till now?
Much better than I ever expected. I am surprised to see the appetite, the thirst for the vaccine amongst Pakistani population and their spirit to volunteer. 73% of our volunteers are doctors. 14,500 volunteers have been injected and they have tolerated it very well. Very minor side effects in about 5% in the form of fever and ache, pains and malaise, lasting only for a few hours, not requiring any treatment. Not a single volunteer required hospitalization. No anaphylaxis have been registered so far against this vaccine. And good thing is that no volunteer who has been injected with the active vaccine has developed COVID-19 so far. Because there is, of course, a fee. If they do develop COVID, then we compensate them with 35,000 rupees. Of course, initially we give them 3,000 volunteering honorarium, and at the end of the trial, which is 1 year, we will again give 5,000. So in the trial, there is an inbuilt inherent mechanism that even if anybody who enrolls for the trial gets finally an active open labeled vaccine when the unblinding will take place. So that is the important thing for me, that I can promise to my volunteers that the ownership is there, and they, even if they are injected water, they will ultimately be injected free of cost the vaccine. So that's very, very important for me.
Sir, as the Chancellor, under your leadership, the UHS has started this phase 3 cansino trial against COVID-19 vaccine. What do you have to say about this initiative?
We are going through a very difficult and challenging times. This COVID-19 has infected more than 80 million people, and unfortunately more than 2 million people have lost their lives. And I'm very glad that University of Health Sciences have always taken the lead on many initiatives, and this initiative of vaccination is praiseworthy. So I want to pay tribute to Javed Akram Saab and his team to start and trial this vaccination, and I'm very happy that myself and my wife have been vaccinated, and now there are people in large numbers are participating in this trial, and I'm sure this will be very successful, and this is the only answer now. This disease is going to continue for God knows for how long. So vaccination is the only answer, and I think University of Health Sciences has done a good job introducing this trial in Punjab and Pakistan.
Behind the success of this vaccine lies the reassurance of the people. After this pandemic had plunged the world in darkness, this vaccine brings with it a ray of a better tomorrow. For the sake of yourself and for the healthcare of your loved ones, do make use of the vaccine. Bring the life track back to its original course.